You think you're bored because nothing's happening. You're not. You're bored because your brain hasn't had a dopamine hit in the last 12 seconds. We've built a world where silence feels like failure and stillness feels like withdrawal. So here's the question. What actually happens when you stop feeding your brain the endless scroll? When you quit social media for a whole month? Here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not just your phone you're breaking up with. It's the version of yourself that only exists online. Imagine this, day one without social media. You reach for your phone, thumb hovering over an app that's no longer there. Your brain, confused, does what it always does. It panics a little. It's like a dog waiting by the door for an owner who moved out 3 days ago. By day 3, you start noticing things. The way silence hums, the sound of your refrigerator, the fact that your thoughts are loud. You might even feel dumber, slower, like your mind's buffering. But that's not a glitch, that's withdrawal. And somewhere between day 10 and day 30, something starts to shift. You stop checking for updates and start noticing yourself. Here's what's really going on inside your head. Social media is engineered to hijack your dopamine system. The same reward circuitry that makes gambling addictive. Every notification, like, or message is a variable reward, unpredictable enough to keep you hooked, consistent enough to feel worth checking. In psychology, this is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the same trick casinos use. In 2019, researchers at Stanford found that the average person checks their phone about 150 times a day, not because they need to, but because the brain craves the next hit of certainty, validation, or distraction. When you quit social media, your dopamine levels drop, and your brain doesn't like that, so it protests with restlessness, irritability, even mild anxiety. It's the brain's version of a toddler throwing a tantrum because you took away its candy. But here's the twist. After a few weeks, something fascinating happens. The brain starts rebalancing. In 2020, a study from the University of Bath asked participants to take a week off social media. After just 7 days, people reported significant increases in mood, focus, and life satisfaction. They didn't suddenly find enlightenment. They just remembered what undistracted thought felt like. So why does it feel so hard to get there? Because social media doesn't just feed your dopamine system, it trains your attention. It rewires what normal feels like. We like to believe we use social media to connect, but in reality, most of us use it to escape. Not from others, from ourselves. We scroll to avoid boredom, but boredom is the birthplace of creativity. We scroll to feel seen, but constant visibility makes us invisible to our own lives. When you quit social media, you don't just regain time, you regain depth. You start noticing the micro moments your phone filtered out, the rhythm of your own breathing, the shape of your thoughts before the world edits them. Here's the paradox. At first, you feel disconnected from everyone. Then you realize how disconnected you actually were from yourself. Your thoughts start to wander again, not toward the next notification, but toward memories, ideas, even regrets. The kind of mental drift that used to happen when people stared out windows, not screens. Our minds aren't built for constant stimulation. They're built for rhythm. Tension, then rest. Noise, then quiet. Without that, the brain never exhales. By the end of the month, you don't become a monk. You still want to check things. You still feel that phantom buzz sometimes, but the urgency fades. You start realizing that the world didn't end when you stopped refreshing it. And that silence, the thing you used to run from, has become the thing that heals you. Maybe quitting social media doesn't fix your life. Maybe it just removes the filter long enough for you to actually see it. So here's a question that lingers. If your thoughts were a person, would you still hang out with them? Or would you keep scrolling past? Sometimes the quietest part of your mind is the one that's been waiting the longest to speak.